What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Astro Tea Podcast. It's your girl, Supernovajazz, and we're here with a guest. What's up, Giovanna?
Hey everybody, what's up? How you doing? What's up? My name is Giovanna. I'm a multi-dimensional creative, which means I have a lot of hats.
Yes. She wears a lot of hats and hairstyles. She's had about like 3 different hairstyles when she's been here. She has a braid. But you know, she's a Libra, so she's going to make it work no matter what. It's going to look beautiful.
And you know, I may be indecisive, but I have a lot of options.
Yeah.
So
I love it.
I like to be able to switch it up when I want to and do what I want. And that's what I like to do.
I love it. It's so funny because we were actually setting up and then 2 hours just went like this.
Yeah.
And then I thought about the topic and how dreams in that dreamy state really has no recollection of time.
Time is so distorted.
And I swear I felt so bad as soon as I saw it was 2 hours. I was like,
why?
Oh my God. But every moment was filled with, we literally have just been talking and chatting and it's just been so natural. And then I was like, oh shit, yeah, earthly things like time. If you're tuning into this podcast is the power of dreams and the messages behind prophetic visions, prophetic messages, and it's going to be a natural flow. But you know, we got some really good stuff for you in this episode. So if you're listening through Anchor, if you're listening through Spotify, if you're watching this on YouTube, take the time to save this episode. Like, subscribe. You're gonna check out all the beautiful information about Giovanna in the description. Get to know her. Get your tea, okay?
Oh yeah, get your tea.
Get your bong, which we have study and you might see throughout this episode. We're gonna talk about dreams and we're gonna talk about dreams, but I wanna remind you guys that I didn't realize till today and that we just started sitting down talking about this episode, how important dreams are and how they really are a gift, and it really does come from God's source, and there is no proven science behind it, right? There is no like 1 + 1 = 2. I feel like
this dream, yeah,
right.
Like, it can be a combination of so many things of why you have a specific dream,
right?
You know, and no one can really like pinpoint it. It's something you have to, in a way, discover for yourself. What I've really learned about dreams is it's all about like how you feel in them. If you can remember how you felt in them, you can literally like learned so much about the situation. Prophetically, that's how I help them guide me, is how I feel in the dream, and then that will determine like how I can handle a situation when it comes up, because eventually I get the wow, that's why I had that. Right.
I love that. Yeah, it really is. I feel like step 1 of the introduction of clairvoyance and clairaudience and all that psychic yumminess, it's like the window to it.
It's all about paying attention.
It's about awareness, right? I want to talk about how this first came up for you, but I also want to remind people, if you're not dreaming a lot, because some people don't dream. Like, my boyfriend doesn't have any dreams. Don't feel like this episode is not for you, right? Because it comes up one way or another. I forget which wavelength it is, close to the same wavelength of daydreaming, right? We all daydream at the same time too. Where are you from originally? And I want you to think back to about the time where it was very abundantly clear to you that these visions, these stories that were coming to you weren't just because.
Well, first off, I'm from Bogota, Colombia. I was born there. Came to Florida when I was about 6. And grew up in Broward, basically.
South Florida girl.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah.
Broward girl,
yeah.
Especially.
I call myself a nature, city, farm girl. Well, country. Because, like, in Colombia, like, the very first school I went to, it was a private kind of art school, but it was also, like, a farm. So that's where I got like my first introduction to like nature and art and stuff like that. I feel like that really connects back to my whole even having visions and stuff, because through my art, that's how I have visions.
Right, and I felt it kind of weird that I asked those two questions together. Where are you from? And then, like, when all this started.
Because I feel like it does influence it.
That's very true.
I can't really say if anyone in my family actually has active powers that they work on or anything. I wish I knew. Like I was telling you earlier, I grew up mostly alone, like home alone. So I was very just with myself. So I create, and we didn't have, well, especially once we moved here, we didn't have a lot. Like I didn't have a shit ton of Barbies or anything. I had one Barbie. You know, I didn't have a whole bunch of clothes for her. I made her clothes out of socks, out of all that shit.
Right.
But like I would envision of what I want to see, and I would do it. Random ass shit. Dresses that literally I could make this dress on her, but like obviously in a different way. Like, you know.
Were you like sewing? Did you have a sewing machine?
I didn't have a sewing machine, but like I knew how to sew. And then there was also, I mean, you get tape and you can put anything together.
It just makes me think of, do you feel like there's a connection, especially growing up at a young age and not really having a lot, but having something to hone and put your focus on creativity? Do you think it allowed you to receive all these creative visions and insights? And I don't think you got to it yet, but were you having dreams then? Like, were you?
I can't specifically remember if I did, but what I mostly remember, what I could say is that I've always been exercising that muscle, basically. Because, like I said, through art, I could look at a canvas or I could look at a wall and have different visions of what I could do, right? Now, I remember always having deja vu and shit. So I don't know if I had like maybe dreams back then that then would, and I would just interpret it like I wouldn't remember it like that, and I would just had a lot of deja vu. Or it could be, you know, because deja vu is such an interesting concept for me too, because it could also be like you in the future remembering this moment right now, so you're kind of like time traveling spiritually into that moment, so you feel it like double. You get me?
Right,
like the future you is visiting you and that present you right there, and you're just like, whoa, like,
yeah, the time catches up to itself.
Yes,
it's like it's catching up.
And that I could like see it be a deja vu theory. So, and it could go either way, but in all that, I just knew that this type of stuff is very interesting to me because I can relate. I can't say there's like a certain point at an age where I was like, oh, my dreams are very prophetic. Because I was telling you how in high school I didn't believe in love. So that's how my parents get divorced. I saw them be in love and get divorced. So I like the concept was like, how the fuck can love just like do that?
Right.
So I was like, okay, well, I guess love isn't real. But like me at that time, I'm not believing in God. Me saying I don't know love and I don't believe in love is also me saying I don't know God. So there was a time where I was just like not operating in love at all.
Right. It's like the reverse, right? We have a dream and then we wake up and then we automatically can cling to the feeling of how it triggers us, or you can see something happen in front of you consciously and not be open to the like beauty of the unknown of why it's happening.
Because everything's perspective.
Yeah, and it didn't catch up to itself yet. It's kind of was gonna be my next question. Like, why do we call prophetic dreams? Like, what's the difference between a regular old dream of you seeing a dog walking by, and what's the difference between that and having a prophetic dream?
I would say the intention that it feels behind it. A lot of times I feel like God not makes me, but like he wants me to see certain shit. So I have it in my dream, and then I see them, and I'm like, what the fuck? Because like then when I see later on like how shit played out, I was just okay, like I'm still trying to understand why God wants me to know this. So that's the type of dreams like prophetically that I have. I can't have a dream and be like, you know, tomorrow like the world's gonna end or some shit. Like it's like nothing like that, but it's very much like
when
God
the cycle
teaching me shit that I just need to know, but also shit to watch out for also.
Yeah, like seeing the cycle like complete itself and then also begin. I feel like the dream could be the beginning of, I'm seeing something. It's a regular dream, and then when you see it play out, like you're saying it through the experience, you're like, wait, that was a prophetic dream because you pretty much fortune told, but you don't know until you allow universe to show you. Yeah.
So when I first started at the casino, I had two different dreams. I had a dream that I was friends with an alligator, right? We're like by a body of water. There's like 3 alligators in there. One of them is my friend, and the other 2 are after me because they're not seeing me as a friend. Because it was so vivid that I still remember it now. Like one of them was like pretending to be my friend, and then it wasn't like my friend. It was trying to eat me. Well, kill me. Yeah, kill me and eat me. Throughout the casino, I realized that like everyone here basically is an alligator. Money is very driven there, so the energy is just different. The more you work in that environment, you just become part of it. And a big thing with corporate world is being two-faced and like, you know, just not.
And I think it was very symbolic that they were alligators because the reptiles are very close to Draco, and they say the draconians, like a bunch of energy sucking because they're more like blood driven. They eat people.
Well, it's very
that's why they call. well, that's why they call some presidents reptiles, like lizard people. The source of it is the draconians. Stargate.
Very, very interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. Stargate. You battling them, you in the fields with them.
So having that dream was very interesting because like my first year there, I saw it like why it stood out so much. The other dream was that in that time that I cheated on my man.
Oh God, girl.
Right?
That's some tea.
In the dream, I never actually saw myself cheat, but it was like an awareness of like, whoa, like nah, like I love my man, like nah. Here in the waking life, I have never cheated on any man.
So it's like, why would your dream even consider that type of behavior?
Especially when it came like towards him, cause him, like, no. Throughout that year, I ended up developing a crush at work. So I ended up cheating emotionally. Never acted on it. But like that dream was like, wow. Like that's the feeling that it was. Even though him and I like we broke up towards like the end of the year. Like the feeling I felt in my dream, like I felt it here. And I was just like, wow.
You felt it catching up, like deja vu. You felt this.
Yes.
It synced. And you're like,
and
whoa.
I was just like, wow, that's crazy.
And it didn't necessarily have to match what actually happened. Because in your dream, you might have, I don't know, maybe sexually cheated.
I couldn't even tell you. Because like I said, like in my dream, I didn't actually.
It was just awareness that happened.
Yeah. But in real life, it was just emotionally, I definitely could have gone in that route. But the awareness of it, because even in my dream I was just like, nah. Like
my first dream as a child, and now that I'm older and I've seen that cycle complete itself through, was I had a dream that me, my mom, my dad, and my brother, we were all in this really huge king size bed, and we were all snuggled up like, we did it. What I was going through then was my stepdad, which was like the dad that raised me. He went to jail and he was fighting a case. I don't have a relationship now with him or anything like that. It doesn't really matter, like the details of that. But I remember when the dream would keep completing, that he would not be in the bed. Like I would have the dream again. It would be like me, my mom, my brother. We did it. But that energy of we did it, we completed something was still there. And And now it's just kind of beautiful to see that, yeah, that dream did come through, because me, my mom, my brother remain so close. I feel like that's the intimacy of like the single bed.
Okay.
When I was little, my brother.
That was very close.
Yeah, because when we were young, me and my brother, we would sleep in the bed with my mom.
Yeah.
But it was such a huge bed that it wasn't like, you know. So I feel that same like intimacy, like now that we conquered this challenge together. And I'm vulnerable enough to share that, because a lot of children are just silent victims of incarcerated parents, and it's a lot, you know. And especially when you're the kid, you like are in the midst of it. So I feel like that vulnerability again, like that was that single bed, like even though this was like my dad's shit or my mom's shit, that it was still my stuff.
Yeah.
And it was so beautiful now, because I've used that experience, that dream, to write monologues for my acting, and it's really helped.
You can tap into your emotions.
Yes.
I feel like we need to feel pain and sadness
You
and
have
shit, just to know all the emotions. Get to know them. Don't sit in them. Don't
There's a spectrum.
claim them, but just experience them, learn from them, and channel them when you want to, when you want to act. But really, whatever medium you want to get into, you want to create, like you can so use that.
It's so true.
You tap in, get
You're
it
in the
out.
moment. Because you paint, you make murals, when you're in that space of flowing, especially if it's come to you in a dream. Do you ever make it angry? I'm making this shit fucking mad because I'm taking my energy out on this. I feel like that's acceptable. Like,
I would love a room to just do that, honestly. I feel like that would be like an orgasm. Like,
or do
it
you
would be
come
so yes, liberating, so get it out. Yeah,
cry.
Yeah. So the last dream I had that I considered a nightmare, when I woke up from it, I was like, fuck work. I woke
cancel
up
the day.
So
the day didn't even start.
I didn't even cancel it. I just rechanneled my energy. I started on this beautiful commission piece that I ended up doing, but I channeled all my energy into that, and it was such a beautiful, like, love. It's called Mad Love because it has so much love in it, and it's crazy.
But that's so crazy how that came about from a nightmare.
That nightmare is also filled with love. It's because, like, I really give a fuck, and I've loved so hard that certain shit would break my heart. You know, certain shit would just break my heart because I fucking, yes. So I had to just rechannel it, because at the end of the day, like, you want to call it a nightmare, or you can like learn from it. And that's a reality that, even though I wouldn't want it to happen, like, it's still a reality that could happen, and I have to be at peace with that type of stuff. Like, the same as thinking of our parents transitioning. Like, we don't want to think about that, but we have to make peace with it also, because eventually it's inevitable. Shit like that is inevitable.
The cycle is always coming through. And I love, it was like the perfect example of you using your anger and whatever that trigger that came from that nightmare, and you channeled it into a commission piece, literally. Not even, which I think is brave, because I would probably be like, oh no, I don't want to, do something that someone paid me for. The client might feel my negative energy into it.
Mad love. Crazy, but so much love.
But Saturn and Pisces, like that energy right now, Saturn and Pisces is literally that. Like, we have a responsibility to use whatever feeling is coming up and pour into it. Like, we have a responsibility. Like, Pisces represents dreams. It also represents feelings, the subconscious, you know?
You know what? Water makes a lot of sense correlating to that. Water, space, dreams. That to me is so... Because the time, it's just...
Like, how she respond to the piece. She loved it. You said she was like, mad love. Did you tell her, like, I had a fucking nightmare like this?
Yeah, she knows. She knows.
Wow.
She knows. I told her what happened. She was like, when I told her what the dream was, she was just like, I fucking feel you.
What makes something a nightmare?
Because it fucked me up. When I woke up, I was fucked up from it. Right. I was so fucked up from it. Well, looking back at it, I feel like I needed to see it because I need to accept to detach from just expecting shit from people. Like, at the end of the day, reality is we have to live for ourselves, and we have to do it with grace, and we got to give everybody else grace because it's just life. It's life.
Right.
So I need to go through lessons myself, and that's a lesson I feel like I just needed to go through, and it was with myself. I had to make peace with myself. Because if you're really at peace with yourself, it's really hard for shit to get to you.
It's so beautiful how you remind you of you.
Yeah, because you have to. I'm telling you have to remember to remember. Because in this shit, you'll easily drift to just not fucking remembering. And then you're just in a state of fucking forgetting over and over and over and over. Right. And you're wondering why you're depressed and fucking just not fulfilled.
And it'll come back to you. And I feel like humans, we want to know why. We want to know why. Sometimes, like a dream, you have to observe it, note it, and you'll know why. It'll hit you. Oh, this is why. I've had nightmares where I wake up crying.
Yeah.
I have nightmares. I wake up crying, and I'll instantly know. I don't know what your nightmare was, but I'll instantly know what that triggered. Like, oh, the abandonment.
Mine was jealousy.
Really?
That's an emotion I'm not used to. When I do feel it, and it's really weird for me because, like I said, like I'm not used to it. But it's only from one person that can get this out of me, can trigger this me. And it's so frustrating because I feel like I have no control over it. So it's just like waking up like that is like, what the fuck?
You're not gonna get me jealous, bitch. In my own damn dream.
But I had to check myself. That's me checking myself because what the fuck? What the fuck?
I feel that.
No man should have all this power. Ever. Fuck that. No.
I feel
no. But at the end of the day, you gotta give yourself grace. Like I said, I couldn't help it. I still can't help it. If I really like relive the dream in my head, I'll get jealous. I'll get pissed off. That's the honest truth. Like, but I have to rechannel that because why would I want to live in that state?
Energy never dies too. So the rechanneling is so important. I want to kind of segue into ways to use dreams, and one would be how it's making you feel. I felt like you already started knowing how the significance of it is understanding how's the body responding.
I do feel like if you want to intentionally have dreams that to show you life, to show you clarity, to show you whatever, meditate. It's meditation also. Before sleeping, meditate into sleeping. Meditate. Go in with an intention. Don't go in high. Don't go in drunk. Don't go in any substance, but just you. And I feel like your chances of receiving some type of message are very high after that. Like I know I'm not the only one.
Telling yourself and telling your guides, I'm going into this dream, waking up fully charged, the intention of getting all the rest I need. Also being open to the message. Spirit, if you're going to show me something, please allow it to be something that's going to pivot me into the next best reality in the way you feel like it needs to be. And there were spaces in my life where I was drinking a lot, I was having a lack of intention in IRL. And not in IRL, my dreams were very demonic. They were very nightmarish. And I've heard that the source of the dream can also come from a negative entity as well.
Which alcohol definitely
is spirit,
thrives
right?
Through that shit.
Alcohol thrives through spirit, right? Spirits. So I can give the dream, but the dream was there was this guy that I liked, I really fancied, and I went to we were gonna be intimate, and then the eyes turned green and devilish, and then I felt my body being penetrated by the energy, and it was very like demon like.
Damn.
Yeah, and then that's it.
Wow.
And
see, that's a clear sign that it was like, whatever you're fucking with,
don't.
Yeah, like, no. But yeah, Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill talks about basically how the devil tricks you into drifting. A lot of it is through also alcohol, partying, tobacco. Tobacco is like one of the biggest things, because if you get in routine of smoking all the time of that, you can also get a routine of like smoking, like not just smoking, but like other negative habits that would like.
And you were saying how you'll know that the devil's in play, is because you'll be stuck in a loop.
You'll get stuck in a loop, but you'll also just get distracted. You'll get drifted. Even as creatives, I feel like when we get distracted from creating, we try to fill the void in with other things. Like it could be from dating to not dating, just sleeping around type thing. Like it just, you have this void that you just leave open when you don't fulfill your actual passions and what really genuinely healthy makes you happy.
Right.
You know, and then not even just happy, it just makes you so fulfilled inside that you have just gratitude for living.
Right.
And at the end of the day, that's really what we're all chasing, is that feeling. After high school, when I did get introduced to love, and I felt really like I fell in love to walk with love. Like that's what happened. And when I walk with love, I create with love. I live with love. I can't do shit without love.
And people don't think it, but love is very close to money, because you're saying
and
love
abundance.
flows into creativity,
You
right?
never go, nothing that you need is out of reach. Like you'll always have it around you if you really move with love, and that's including money.
So writing down how it makes you feel, and then observing when it hits you.
You'll think back to what you wrote down.
Right.
And you'll be like, okay, this makes sense. And like the more that you do that, the more you'll see patterns.
It's a muscle.
I make it sound like it's just like something you just do. But it's really a muscle.
Right.
Like, so I feel like you can do it.
Right.
But you're not gonna see it on the first
Right.
couple dreams. I don't know, maybe not everybody has it either. I don't know. I really don't.
And that's beautiful. Listen, the smartest people know they know nothing at all.
Hey, amen.
And that's why you can't really put a science to dreams. It's like a big flex from God. Like, bitch, you can't figure me out.
I'm always gonna be a student of life.
Okay. So, what happens when you have a dream and you're back in school? You're back in high school, you're taking a test.
Like,
what do you think that interprets into? What is the message behind it?
but like, where are you in life while you're having this dream? Because I feel that also influences a lot of your dreams too.
Let me give it a little bit more context. It's a little stressful. You're taking a test. You're back at high school.
Okay, so it's like a midterm type shit, and you're like freaking out because you're taking the test. It could be life testing you right now, and you're literally going back into that, like, fuck, I feel that pressure of having to be correct.
It says this interpretation is usually connected to work. School was our first job, so it's very connected to that. Whether you're trying to get a new client, it's evaluation time, like you're saying, like about
having
life is testing time. Okay, the dream is you're hanging out with a celebrity, random celebrity.
Do I like the celebrity?
Yeah, you guys are friends. You're hanging out.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right?
I mean, if you like the celebrity, then I would say, like, it's maybe a good light on your social life.
Okay.
It's filling up. That's the feeling I get. It's just like living it up, feeling it up.
So the message that I see here, and this is supposed to be from a Dream Expert,
which I'm not an expert.
No, this is fun. We're just having fun here. It's saying if if your friend's in the dream, whatever it is, that celebrity you like is something you like about yourself too. It's something you want to be recognized for. Ask yourself what it is about this person that relates back to you. And I feel that because we don't know these people, you know, but somehow we know these people. and then we relate to them, and that's when you find a likeness. Like, we just went to Alicia Keys concert. Okay.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
We both like her, and there's something in her that we will relate to.
Oh, and Kali Uchis. Like, I would love to be friends with Kali Uchis. Like, doing photo shoots and shit, being in her music videos. Kali Uchis, yo estoy lista cuando tú quieras, okay? Tú me llamas.
The fact that you even think she's gonna watch this is amazing. Thank you.
Manifesting it, like, model for her. Like, yes.
Yes, y'all.
Yes.
They know. Astro Tea Podcast knows. Okay, next dream. Your partner cheated on you.
Oh, God.
That's a very common dream.
I mean, that dream could be a lot, because that could be telling you that he actually is, that they are.
Girl!
It can very much say that.
Oh my God.
But it could also be an insecurity that you're like, it's projecting for you in your dream that you probably need to address.
So ultimately, this interpretation, this dream can be a positive so long as you don't wake up pissed off at your partner for something they did in your subconscious. It's letting you know something needs to be corrected. You and your partner can start having date nights.
I want you guys to know that even if you look up what your dreams mean,
right,
it's just an interpretation. It's not set in stone that this is it.
And that's the whole reason that we're doing this, because you are the interpreter, right? You are the prophet, especially since you are the one that's going to see the cycle through. No one else is going to see that. I think that's what's so beautiful about dreams, is nobody else is having this dream but you.
I do want to talk about Inception at some point.
Right now, actually, right now is always the perfect time.
You want to talk about dreams, you want to talk about how it correlates to like real life Inception.
That movie's crazy.
Drifting. That movie right there, what I love the most is how deep you can get into it, and the deeper you get into it, the harder it is to remember. And it's like the harder you have to push yourself to remember. And I feel like that also correlates to a lot of shit like depression. The more and deeper you get into depression, the harder it is for you to remember to get the fuck out.
It's so funny that you point out depression, because depression is very related to the past. And then astrologically, the same house that dreams live in, the 12th house, is also past life, the past. Time playing it with itself.
Yeah.
The past and the future catching up, happening all at the same time.
I feel like, and living in that moment, sometimes you can forget that you're in that moment, and it's like...
Right. I think it's also crazy in Inception, they all create the realities, right? Like they all...
And from their own dreams.
Do you feel like when we have dreams sometimes that it's also us tapping into a different reality that we're experiencing?
Yes.
Thus meaning a different parallel universe?
I do believe that. Because sometimes you can wake up so fucking tired.
Girl.
I believe that spiritually we're somewhere else doing some other shit.
Always. Where else is the energy going?
It's not always coming back recharged.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But yeah, with Inception also, I feel like that, not just depression, but, you know, like anxiety can get you to that point. The more you live in it, or if you don't address it, it'll get worse. Even with addiction, you know, it's just so many
12th
ways
house energy.
Yeah.
It's so funny because even though this is the Astro Tea Podcast, it's not like you're that into astrology.
No, I'm not.
You're in your own
you're
in your own modality, right? As an artist, as a spiritual being, but unknowingly you're naming things that are astrologically under the same energy.
I love that you can tell me that too.
Yeah,
because that makes a lot of sense that they would, because they all do correlate with each other.
What is the most pivotal dream you've had recently? That you're willing to share, of course.
Well, I had it twice already, so I love it. But I've been like catching trades and then catching flights, and I
something I want to get into
flights,
too.
And that's literally like the life I want to live. So I love that. In the
like,
dream, I was like
in the airport trading, and then
no. I was at home. I was finishing my trade. I was closing a trade, and then I'll be like, all right, it's time to go. And now we'll go catch a flight.
Okay, and what do you interpret that to mean?
My future.
Wow. She's like, that's a prophetic dream already.
That's my future right there. I felt this so vividly. I'm just like that, and that's literally in my heart.
Do you think every dream has a very profound?
No, it's just a dream. Like, it's not that serious. It's not that deep. But there's just other dreams that the way they hit is very potent.
Right.
And that's the ones that I pay attention to the most. If I don't smoke, like, I can dream every single night.
You know what? I've heard that, and I smoke, and I still dream every night.
I still am smoking,
and they're crazy
I still
dreams.
Dream, but sometimes I if I want a definite dream, no smoking.
Yeah, it's deeper. Honestly, it's harder to get out of bed when I don't smoke. It's weird, because I feel the sleep, the rest is like deep. It's like locked in. So I get that. I wonder if you smoke, it pulls the subconscious to the consciousness and you're using all that energy. That way when you go to sleep, maybe the dreams are not as potent.
Maybe, because I do feel like I see the difference of when my dreams are very potent versus when my dreams are coming through because they're just potent. Versus when they're really foggy. It's not just like in the state of mind that you're in substance wise, but it's also where you're at emotionally and spiritually. Because if you're not, you could have crazy dreams where you're interpreting it to be crazy as fuck, but it's because you're not understanding it and you're not in that state of mind to actually take it in and learn from it. You're just like going berserk.
You're allowing the mind to not connect to the spirit.
Yes. So you're just like torturing yourself when it's not even
right.
You don't have to do that.
Yeah, I think if like say a dream takes you off your cycle, right? Which is needed. And you're trying to interpret it and you're trying to, but what did that mean? It's okay to write it down. That's why I write it down. Put it to the side. Allow yourself to step into the receiving mode.
It's okay to not
and then revisit. Yeah, and then revisit it to help you understand, or not revisit it and allow the universe and the experience to come and meet you when it's time to know.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not time to know.
Yeah. Sometimes you're not in a time where you're gonna understand it. So later on you will. It's like doing a certain math equation too early when you still have to learn the basics. Mm-hmm. You're not gonna understand it. You're not gonna get it right. You have to
right. And I think for the people that don't dream as much, like almost closely to none, I think that's a hidden gift in there too, because when you do dream, it's probably 9 times out of 10 gonna be a prophetic dream or a very potent dream with a message there for you. And then try, if you're open to it, to do what we were saying. Go into sleep with intention. Like, you know what? Spirit, I'm open to dreaming. Because some people are kind of like close themselves off.
Yeah.
And then if you don't want to, and you want to be like, fuck it, I don't know. And you were just saying, that's cool too.
I mean, as long as you're in peace. Because I don't feel like I came on here to encourage you to dream. I think dreams are important.
Yeah.
But I also, like I said, like they also can be just dreams. If you really do want to tap into your spirituality where you want to receive dreams, ask for it. You ask, you shall receive.
This podcast is very profound, the topic of dreams, because it's just so unknown. And I feel like as human beings, especially in this generation where we have a lot of information just at our fingertips and people are literally fighting and paying billions of dollars to marketing agencies for your attention, the fact that we are giving this ability to receive this vision, like we have no control over it, right? Like it's in our face. It's so beautiful. And it's so beautiful no matter how freaking crazy the dream is, to be able to live that. Like, I love that I have these crazy freaking dreams because I get to say I live that, you know, I did in the spirit realm. I was out here last night fighting galactic war. The next day, I get to experience a freaking tiger with a bear head looking at me doing weird shit. Like, it's so great to have that ability from God, from source, to experience these non-experiences.
My art's always connected back to Alice in Wonderland before I even watch Alice in Wonderland. And Alice in Wonderland is very dreamy, very trippy. I like that dreams can be very blunt yet very abstract. I think they're important, but at the same time I feel like we should also acknowledge that it's all how our perspective is. Our perspective is everything. So if you're in a perspective of self-doubt and insecurity, your dreams are going to project that a lot. Instead of taking that as like, this is my life, you can take it and learn from it and change it about yourself, you know, because it's also like a mirror, walking through a glass mirror. So that's beautiful. Alice in Wonderland too. Give yourself grace, walk with love, and you'll be okay regardless of what you dream.
Thank you for listening to the Astro Tea Podcast. Again, please follow Giovanna. She is on Instagram, TikTok. Get to know her. Tap in with me. Thank you for showing up, and we love you.
Love you.